Happy full moon lunar eclipse in Libra, y'all. Oh my goodness. Wow, it has felt so powerful already. When I came home from work last night, I was actually doing the weekly energy forecast when my little astrology alarm bell went off, and it was like the full moon lunar eclipse is happening right now. And it was almost like clockwork. Like, I started my period, I felt the pain of the world come over me, and in the morning I woke up and called my dad for his birthday. I had a very pivotal healing conversation with him. The initial phone call was the setup of the opponent to make it look like it was going to be the same pattern over and over again. And when we had to rush off the phone, and I was tempted by the opponent to go back into that old story of the rejection, of the neglect, of the abandonment. And then I was like, no, I just chose to start to perceive it differently, just accept the way it was and not let it cause me to feel feelings like sadness and despair that would cause me to fall out of affinity with the creator and cut myself off from blessing, right? Because this is this moment where, like, I feel like this eclipse is going to be very expansive and accelerating, but we are walking through this threshold and initiative portal. So it's like this, it's like the new moon of Aries was like step onto the platform. And then the Libra eclipse right now is the stepping into the portal where we are leaving the past behind. And so that vortex, that event horizon, imagine walking into a black hole and it's going to strip you of all that is not in your highest good, all that is coagulating and defiling your higher self version of you. And everything that is holding you back from aligning with that higher destiny point. So we're at this destiny point right now where we are like, yeah, I'm going forward. I'm leaving the old self behind. I'm walking through. And as I walk through the portal, I'm releasing and letting go and surrendering the things that don't want to be with me anymore. So that means we have to be accepting and ready for change. We have to be willing for things to be different. And it has to be in those moments where it's the hardest to do it. And I am here to tell you that moments later, my dad called me back and he said, you know what, I'm sorry I had to rush off the phone. I really was on a conference call and I didn't want you to feel like I was trying to rush off the phone. And he actually asked about me and didn't stop at the pleasantries. He went on further and asked more personally, like, how are you? What's new? And I don't think he's ever done that. And it didn't turn into everything about him. And actually, I congratulated on something that he had been working all our lives for. And he, had a vulnerable moment of realness. And that never happened either. And so that was crazy. And it came from the willingness, just the slightest mustard seed, on both sides, at least starting on my end, where it could have been, So that is an example of how this Libra full moon eclipse is helping change the way that we interact with people, within our relationships, within our partnerships, right? So the South Node, I was just talking about this in the daily pick a card video. If you might want to go back for today's video, I'll be in this matching outfit and I just talked about it there. But it's like, I just lost my train of thought about that. Oh, it's how we're relating to life, right? Libra is the South Node. And so the South Node of the moon is like the past that we're moving away from. It represents karmic contracts that are coming to an end, past life situations, things that we've already learned that we don't need to keep carrying with us, lessons that we don't need to keep repeating. And so the South Node being in Libra for the 1.5 year period that it is, we're kind of like into it right now. It's helping us let go of the ways that we have interacted with life and with others and with anything outside of ourselves, right? Whether it be our goals, other people, our jobs, our relationships to money, to food, to substances, to our ability to creatively express ourselves or express our needs, right? This is how we relate to life. And so this is changing, and the toxic or wounded or negative ways that we used to do that, where like the universe is supporting us in our efforts to change and to leave those ways behind. But it's up to us to actually make those changes. It's up to us to put the ego on the chopping block. So it's amazing. This comes at this time of year. We all know that, Passover happens this time of year and Easter happens this time of year. And it's not by coincidence. It's because this is the time of year where we shed and die to the old ego self so that we can be reborn and resurrected. And so that's what, the season is about. And it keeps reminding us everywhere, in every way. The planets, the trees, the birds, the flowers are telling us this. And, they're telling the message of the Son of God coming back to share the light with the world that brings life. So it's all very exciting. We're about to go into a Mercury retrograde, which is going to have us rethinking and reprocessing the self and how we communicate, and getting us really clear on our visions. It's like we're going to go back and like reevaluate. Oh, okay. It's like when you go back and do a little refresher on stuff that you've already studied and you've already been tested on, but you're like, you understand the material and it's so much more clear and easy because you did all that work and then you let it sit for a while and marinate, and then you went back and revisited. And I feel like that's what this kind of Mercury retrograde is sort of like getting us into this new frame of mind and this new capacity to communicate, this new consciousness and from where we are now, right? Is there anything else I want to say about, Libra itself it seems like it would be a feminine sign, but it's not. It's a masculine air sign. And it's about our consciousness and our thoughts and the way that we perceive and make our decisions and the way we balance out how we weigh our decisions. And sometimes the shadow side of Libra can be very indecisive, because Libra is all about harmony and beauty and being the mediator and bringing balance and harmony to things. And so many times that Libra is a little bit too accommodating and can lose the self, or be afraid of making a mistake, or being afraid of making a choice that sits, uncomfortably with someone else. They want everybody to be happy. They want everything to be harmonious. So a lot of times Libra can overly self-sacrifice. So in a way, this can be a reclaiming of self, to where we know how to honor the self and value the self, whilst also considering others as well, but not to sell ourselves short as less than others, but to give ourselves an equal seat at the table. And so another thing is that we're being asked to become more decisive and stop wasting time in analysis paralysis. We need to face the fear of making a mistake and like questioning, about, like, it's not that we don't make mistakes and that there aren't mistakes. It's just that maybe some things that we would perceive as a mistake are just another way to get to the same destination. There could have been another option, but sometimes there's more than one right way to do something. It just leads to a different adventure, right? So we need to be able to stop being so afraid of making a mistake and just try something, own it, live with the results, and then make adjustments from there. Stop being so attached to that way and be able to just make adjustments, right? Oh, okay, I tried this, not working. Let's readjust. Let's pivot, right? So owning the self, healing the tendency of enmeshment and codependency, and deepening and healing our self-worth and sense of deservingness, whilst also owning our sovereignty and being more decisive, right? Now, another thing that it's good to know is that Libra is connected to the mind, and the mind is the first seed level that anything comes through, right? The light of the creator, an idea, our brain function brings us online. It's our mind where everything starts. So the consciousness is the seed level of creation. And so where the consciousness is at is going to temper and flavor what we create. And so we don't want our mind to be in darkness and in conflict and in separation, because what we create will have chaos and darkness and density and negativity in it. It won't have share vibrational affinity with the light, right? So we need our consciousness to be in oneness with the light, in perpetual state of fulfillment and peace and certainty and in ease and harmony. And so we need to learn how to cultivate that within the self, right? Thy kingdom come, that is the kingdom within. And being raptured out of the tribulation is not suddenly snapping of the fingers and all of a sudden people disappear. It's the conscious shift from being in a state of consciousness that you choose regardless of the circumstances. And the anchor that holds you there is your certainty in the creator, that your creator is the source and your protector and your provider and your publicist and gives you all the favor and blessing. And so if you stay connected with the creator, then you're in that aura of protection and provision, right? And that's when you are in a state of joy and gladness and thanksgiving and sharing and overflowing, right? But when we get curmudgeon and angry and petty and we get, we choose conflict over unity and we hold on to our petty grudges and differences, even though they may be perfectly justified, it makes us fall out of affinity with the light of the creator. It separates us from source because we don't share that vibrational affinity anymore, right? And that puts us in these lower level feelings and thoughts. And so we need to be really careful to watch our thoughts. We may not be able to control the initial thought, but we can control, okay, I'm going to change the channel, right? And how do we do that? The moment we become aware, the moment we step away and disconnect from the soap opera and observe ourselves and observe the feelings, we can even say out loud, oh, okay, I'm feeling this way. And it gives you a little bit of space from being caught up in the illusion and being able to step back and observe, okay, my thoughts are like this. What am I thinking? Why am what is causing me to be up in my head like this? What's really going on here? What's deeper? Is this something from my subconscious that's coming up that's triggering me, and my outer circumstances are the way they are so that they can reflect that back to me so that I can focus on what's deep within, change that first? Then maybe the circumstances change themselves. Maybe I have to do something to help with the circumstances. But it's usually, we have to change the thing within, or else we're just putting a Band-Aid on something that's going to keep coming up. Even if we change environment, even if we go into if we leave a bad relationship and think that that's the problem, and we go into another one and we don't do the work on the self, the other one, no matter how cute it looks on the first, few months or whatever, it's going to turn into the same relationship you just left because you didn't solve the core issue, right? And so I think we're starting to understand that. And now we have a chance from a clean slate, go forward knowing the rules of the game better, having mastered the plays and knowing, okay, these are the moves. This is what I can anticipate from the other side. Like a basketball game on the court all the time. Your opponent is in your face and it's going to be equal to the game you're bringing every single time. Just anticipating that. Don't resist it. Just accept that, and you have so much more energy to focus on the game. Focus on the game. Don't get lost in the trash talk, right? Don't let things provoke you. Don't let things tempt you. Listen to the small voice within. I've been recently considering buying a course, and they're all like between $1,000 and like $3,000, right? On average. And that's acceptable. I'm not against that. But something has told me, all the ones that I've wanted to take for a long time, it's like, it's not the time to take that one yet. It's not the time to take that one yet. Even though we were just through like the open enrollment season. And I waited. And then lo and behold, an angel sent me a message, not literally a message, but someone literally told me about this in real life, about a course that was something that I had already been interested in, that was like a fraction of the cost, and there were other benefits to it as well. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, what a godsend, because now that is more foundational. I can start with that. I might be able to do a lot more with it than I think. and I can save $500 to $2,000, $2,500, right? So listen to the small voice. Don't listen to the big, like, oh, I have to do this now. I have to buy this now. FOMO, you only live once, right? Just listen to the inner voice within. I've been in Lent, right? I've been in Lenten season, and I gave up sweets and I gave up, desserts. And those are, that's something I like a lot. I love chocolate covered almonds. I love like grabbing, for like a brownie at work or cookies. And I have missed it, but I'd already decided, like, I don't feel like I've been challenged enough, honestly. And I was like, Easter feels so early and soon that I was like, I'm just going to continue fasting until Passover, until the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And I just had a feeling I should do that. And lo and behold, I kept thinking, like, isn't Easter supposed to be attached to Passover weekend? Like, what is this? And like, I saw a video of somebody actually mentioning that about having, it was supposed to be on Passover, and the timing is off this year. So I was like, okay, cool. Another example of that inner voice just saying, like, hey, you've got the truth within you, and that truth is coming out, and you're starting to recognize it and being able to express that and have that fluid communication with spirit, if that makes sense, and with source. All right, let's get in to the reading. We're going to do a Celtic cross with my straightforward oracle. Oh, and as I had shuffled them before the reading, I noticed that endings was at the top of the deck. And then when I picked up the manifestation oracle deck, Father Healing was at the bottom of it. Isn't that funny? All right, so the first card is going to be represent us in the context of this moment right now, in the midst of Libra, this portal of the eclipse season. As we walk through this portal, what is the issue that is stripping away, that's holding us back? This is an issue of confidence. You are the only thing holding you back. Your confidence grows as you take risks. There's no reason to fear failure. Instead, embrace it. Let go of what others think of you. Low confidence is not magnetic or attractive. As you strengthen your confidence, you will increase your magnetism and attraction. So this makes sense because last workshop for the new moon, it was all about issues of self-worth, worthiness, deservingness, guilt, and shame. And that affects your confidence, right? When that Libra tendency to hesitate because you're just like overthinking and analysis paralysis, it's a sign that you're just not, that fear of making a mistake is like you're not confident in yourself. Like, what's the big deal? It's not the end of the world. Bounce back, right? People who aren't afraid of making a mistake, they're willing to face it and deal with it. It's not going to kill them. Like, they're confident people. It's not because they know that they're going to do it right. It's because they're like, well, it doesn't really, who cares? If I don't do it right, then I'll just adjust. Like, it's no big deal. It's not the end of the world. So confidence is the key. Just be confident in yourself. Have belief in yourself that it doesn't matter if you're perfect at something right out the gate. You can work hard. You can put in the time, right? You can get better at something. You can figure it out. When you hit a problem, if you calm down and breathe and tune into your higher self, you have the answers. You have the truth. The truth will come forward. The answer, how to fix something. That happens to me all the time. I have to become like the little engineer around this house, like just MacGyvering things. And it's like my grandfather comes in and he helps me, teaches me how to fix things. He's been dead since I was a teenager, right? But you can channel this from your ancestors and from the side of you that has access to all the information. So have confidence in yourself. You've come so far. And you have so much experience and wisdom, and you have something to share, and you can do it. What is crossing us now? And so what's the influence of the energy that's crossing us right now? The law of attraction has been activated. Crossing of the portal, activation beginning. So over the next 2 weeks, it's like we're walking the path of leaving the past behind, and we're continuing to let go, to process, to have closure, to tie up loose ends, right? Think of a show when they're coming to a series finale, and they're tying up all the character stories, right? And they're closing everything out. How are you doing this in your Netflix, the series half one? Because we're getting picked up at the end of this 2 weeks, right? For Life, the series Us continued, except different story, different writers. The old canon doesn't apply. We don't have to go by the same patterns and trauma and beliefs and limiting things anymore. It's like we had amnesia and we're washed clean, and we have all the best parts of ourselves, all the instincts, all the experience, but none of the baggage, none of the bullshit. And so we can go forward. Every night when we go to sleep and our soul goes up to those higher realms and we're evaluated for the day. Did you transform today? Did you overcome? Did you correct your tikkun, right? Those parts of yourself that you came here on earth to heal and to elevate, right? Did you work on those things? Were you met with challenges and temptations, and how did you meet those, And did you forgive yourself? Were you easy on yourself, or were you too hard on yourself? Were you not hard enough on yourself? So when you're evaluated every night, it's like a miniature judgment day. That's when they decide, okay, the writers for tomorrow's episode of Life, this is the destiny that gets written, right? Yesterday we were going to have some chaos, but there was a lot of progress made today, and there's no more need of that lesson or the judgment that will cleanse that negativity. So better day tomorrow, right? So think about that. Every day, the devotion that you are putting in is an investment that you're making for a better tomorrow, literally. So the law of attraction has been activated. The devotion, the clarity, the sacrifice of self that we have shown the universe, which is God manifest in our reality, right? It has proven to have pushed the wheels of fate and turned the notch. And so it's like, the notch has been turned, game on. Things are coming, things are starting, and I feel like the eclipse season is not just about taking away, but if we really let it take away what it needs to, it can accelerate and expand beyond our wildest dreams. But if we've been ignoring and holding on, and we've got a lot to let go of, then it's going to be chaotic. And it's going to get more and more and more chaotic. It started being chaotic a year ago when it was like, hey, last call to get on the platform. If you keep going and trying to hold on to all the old toxic crap that doesn't work, it's going to get more and more and more uncomfortable for you. So what is in the position of, this is like the subconscious influence that's affecting the situation right now. So forgiveness is what is being asked for. This is affecting everything. Forgive to unblock. Stagnant, toxic, grudge. Wow. Stalemate, bondage. Liberate yourself. Call back your power. You're leaking energy. Forgiveness will heal the wound. So, wow, the subconscious block right now is a grudge. It's a wound. It's all the things that we're holding on to that we need to forgive and let go of, because it's like sandbags on a hot air balloon. And then it's like the law of attraction has been activated. It's just that what's blocking you is like, you just need to forgive. And all of a sudden it's like that rock that they move out of the way when the cave like collapses in movies, and they're like, we gotta get to the survivors. And everybody's been digging, and it's always like that one little rock that they move, and the light comes through, and there's like a hand, and they're like, we've got somebody. And then it's like all of a sudden everybody can climb through. Like that's what this is. Okay. So the issue from the past that is still having an effect on our present, but this is something that's beginning to dissipate, right? This is a wound that's healing, and the pain of it is beginning to dissipate, or a situation that has been challenging, but the effects of it are beginning to dissipate. This is from the ego. So the ego tricks. The whole beginning of this video, we were talking about being more cunningly aware of the ego when it's up to its own old tricks, and being able to anticipate that and maneuver, right? All right. What is crowning us that has potential to come into being? Oh wait, what is down here? Make sure that's in the deck. What has potential right now to come into being? Too emotionally invested. Stop obsessing. Okay. So too emotionally obsessive, stop obsessing. So too emotionally invested, stop obsessing, and something just said compromise. So there is something that is just like eating you up. It's taking over too much space in your consciousness. Your thoughts are informing, like those obsessive thoughts about this grudge or this pain or this anger is causing you to have emotions that are causing stormy, like, pollution around your heart chakra. And that's the thing that's being blocked right now. It's like, and it might be like anything that's superficial, anything deep. It's like the deep stuff is coming up and we've been working on it for so long that it's like, okay, I can get rid of this. But it's almost like a recent burn or disappointment that is harder to let go of. And it might be because this is the crutch that the ego is holding on to, because the deeper stuff is like we've already let go. And so that space that used to hold wounds is now empty and void. And the universe is like, "Ooh, I can fill this with light." And the opponent is like, "No, fill it with a self-justifying grudge instead, and block off all the blessings so that the reservoir floods over in the back, and I can be cleaning up over here on light that I didn't earn." Right? That's how our energy is being leaked out. Right? So stop obsessing. Don't be so emotionally invested in the story that you are telling yourself about this thing. Just let it go. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Win by walking away. And let the wave of fortune come down upon you. And the only thing that is stopping it at this point is probably this stupid thing that's going on. Because the deeper healing has been worked on for long enough. I mean, not long enough. We're always kind of like, in the process, but we're over the hump. Like, we need to stop being so self-critical and stop trying to blame ourselves, and just see that some of this stuff is just now, it's like topical, right? It's not deep. What is still wrong with me? What is still wrong with me? It's like, no, it's just topical stuff to get rid of now. It's that person that you they just grind your gears and you can't, and they're just all up in your crawl. And it's not even that important, right? But that's still the thing. Even though you let go of the ancient grudge, the new petty one is the one making the problems, which is good news because it should be easier to get rid of. But because it's all your ego has to hang on to right now, it's holding on like it's everything. It's so precious. It's like it's life support. So just stop obsessing. Assure your ego that it's not going to die. You're just rehabilitating it so that it's not getting in the way anymore. It's actually helping you now. So crowning you, just stop obsessing over the thing that's hanging over your head, so that, good things can start coming in. This is tied to shame. So, whatever that mirror is that is getting under your skin, it probably relates to something that you're ashamed about, or that you've been made to feel ashamed about in yourself. Even though that was other outward projection of the world, it's something that's tied to your shadow. So this trigger is trying to show you all the shadow aspects of yourself that you've rejected or that you feared would be rejected. And so that's why it's so infuriating to see that in that person. And what's happening is that the angels can't connect with you because they can only connect with you when you're in joy. The Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit, can only connect with you when you're in joy. So it's like when you're like, why are you blessing that person and not me? And it's like the Spirit is like, I want to bless you, but I can't get to you because you're being repellent to my energy. Like, you're like Chernobyl over there and you're radioactive, and I cannot approach to deliver the package. It's literally being repelled. So just think about that. It's not worth obsessing over. Just be in joy. That's how you ultimately win the day. Okay, so the perspective that you have right now that is affecting the situation. Time out, a pause in action, wait, a chance to rest and replenish. Progress cannot be made at this time. Reflect and organize. So your perspective right now is shifting, and you're changing the way that you're perceiving things. And so because that is in transformation and in flux, this is literally the moment where this is the Hanged Man card. This is a timeout to shift your perspective. So it's working. Continue to lean into this pause in accelerated, change, and set your coordinates, your conscious coordinates before you launch so that the change will take you in a desirable direction. Let the timeout be there. Don't force anything right now. Just be in surrender and let go. Okay, so the outer situation that's affecting us right now is that we're going in circles. Negative patterns, cycles, stuck in a loop, repeating the same mistake, time for a new story. So again, it's like the thing that's affecting us, the thing that's keeping us in our current state has been these patterns and these cycles. And so right now, it's like this is our chance to break them. Over the next 2 weeks, be very intentional about what you're letting go of and what you're cultivating, and put all of your focus into that. Don't get distracted in petty stuff that doesn't matter. Don't get distracted in dramas. Don't get distracted in like wasting time on stuff that's just like filler, or like, oh, somebody wants you to come to this and you don't really want to go. Like, follow your deep intuition right now to either do the inner work or go where you feel a hell yes, right? Because there's very potent guidance and provision and direction right now, but there's also like the opponent sending pendulums in to jump into people to get you distracted, to lead you in a way that is going to take you away from this destiny point. So tune into that discernment right now. The next card is going to represent our hopes and fears. This is a mother issue. So mother healing. Why did I choose my mother? Why did my mother choose me? This issue is tied to a wound that affected your self-worth. This issue is tied to your money or is affecting your finances. Unconsciously playing out, you're maybe unconsciously playing out your mother's patterns because of enmeshment. So again, right now, if we want to get closer to our dreams, it's all about healing the wounds that come from our mother's side, breaking the patterns that our mother lived through and not repeating those, doing root healing on our mother's lineage. It's like that will get us closer to what we want because it heals our self-worth, right? We're not able to receive more than we think that we deserve and what we think that we're worth. And for whatever reason, the mother wound affects our self-worth and what we are able to receive, because it's a feminine wound, and our feminine power is to receive and be worthy of in just being, right? Not having to earn it. The masculine earns, the masculine takes action, the masculine, is the one that shares and does. Right? But beingness, being love for who we really are, not with what we do. That is the feminine wound. It's learning to be loved for who we are, not what we can provide and give and earning the right to be here, but we are inherently worthy. And we all have that masculine and feminine energy and wounds to tend to. Okay, and so what is the possible outcome? Right? And then we can, the mother wound can make us fear that we won't get what we want. All right, possible outcome, if we can be super present during this eclipse season. Creative collaboration. Like minds capable of manifesting a common vision. So if you have had a person present an idea to you recently, or someone who has like a common thing that, you guys can like work side by side on, and a common goal. It may not be a literal collaboration or partnership on the same idea or same literal business, but it can be a person who is helping you and you're helping them, and they presented a new idea of something, right? So look for those signs in your life right now, or recent times, in recent times past. Has there been a person who has presented you with something enticing and that made you feel excited and hopeful? Or look out for that possibility, because that could be the eclipse season bringing you the first little plot point in the series, like in the, you know, early episodes of the season. It's like, hey, here's the character, here's their life, here's the people that they know. That's usually the first episode. And then like by the end of episode 1 or episode 2, it's like we get a hint or we get introduced to an opportunity, something that is going to go somewhere. Okay, this is going to develop into story for the season, right? Look at that in your life. What has recently shown up, or what presents itself over the next week or two, right? And if it feels like a hell yeah, go for it and go in as deep as you can. Devote your discipline. Go all in, because we don't get this kind of slingshot energy often. And I feel that like a lot of times they're like, don't start anything new during eclipse season. It's got chaos. There's chaos in the air. But that's if you're being unconsciously thrown around by the storm, right? We want to be those surfers that go out right before the storm and we're like, no, I know how to catch that wave, right? I've been training for this. I've been out here on the precipice of many storms, and I have faced my fears and dived into the abyss. And I know what I'm doing, kind of thing. Like, it's going to be a very divinely presented like opportunity where it's very clear. And if it's not, if it feels off, then definitely don't plant that chaos seed. But if it feels divinely appointed, then trust that. Okay, let's pull out a few cards to clarify this reading from the Modern Witch Tarot. Okay, we've got King of Swords. So in our daily pick a card, we had Queen of Swords for today. Now we've got King of Swords, the ultimate mastery of our consciousness, right? He's seated in his sovereignty, or they're seated in their sovereignty, and there are clear skies and peaceful surroundings and birds. And this is about being able to cultivate that inner peace and knowing and the certainty that regardless of the outer circumstances, I can maintain my peace. And not maintaining my peace won't have a positive effect on the outer circumstances. However, maintaining my peace actually probably will have a positive result on the outer circumstances, especially when that inner peace is based on the understanding that Source sends everything, and everything can be experienced and used for the greater unfoldment of my soul. And when you activate that power in the moment, it's like the light is activated and it overcomes the chaos. The chaos is turned on its head and it's used to actually propel you forward. Okay, so King of Swords, we have self-control over our thoughts and our consciousness, and we have self-possession and awareness, and we're not reacting to our fear and our insecurity and our worry of the future. We're not reacting to our lust or buy now while supplies last. We're not reactive. Reactive consciousness is lower base animal consciousness. It's not using our free will as divine beings. And so that is how we practice. Okay, I'm getting this information, feeling stimulated. I am able to pause and observe and actually choose, not react, but choose. That's the goal, right? And that is self-mastery. That is self-control. And when you can master your mindset and your perception, then it makes everything a whole lot easier, right? Because that's the thing that's driving everything. Six of Swords. This is getting over that mental battle, the mental hurdle. This is like getting past the thick of it. The conflict is now over, and we're on, like still waters, moving towards peaceful shores. So this is, better days on the horizon. This is victory after the battle. This is like, calm after the storm. But the worst is over, and we're moving forward and on from difficulty. Wonderful. I love that all these swords are coming up for the Libra full moon, that air energy. Libra is cardinal energy. It is masculine air. It is ruled by Venus. It's symbolized by the scales of justice. So things might be coming into balance for you during this season. I meant to bring that up earlier. Things might not only be harmonizing, and it's going to be, you know, you're either vibrating in harmony or you're not. So if you're holding grudges, you're not vibrating in harmony, and therefore your environment cannot vibrate in harmony. So if you want harmony, you have to sacrifice the grudge. Put it on the cross, girl. Okay, so our next card that came up was the Hermit. This is doing that deep inner work to liberate the self. And it takes us to a higher place. It's like we've got to walk the path up the mountain alone. And it's scary because no one else is with us, and it's often uncharted territory. But once we go up there, we see what we're made of. And we are privy to higher knowledge and wisdom and experience. And we tap into deeper levels of strength and wisdom. And so that's not just for receiving for the self alone. It's not just for our own rapture from the misery. It's for the good of the world. It's so that we can hopefully share that goodness with others and help them find serenity and peace. It's receiving for the sake of sharing, not receiving for the self alone. And that is part of the Christ consciousness. It's, I am going to put this shitty part of myself on the cross and die to it so that I can be resurrected and I can surrender to my higher self, not for the sake of me, but for the sake of the world. And it does. It makes a difference. It elevates the higher realms. But in order to do that, we've got to look at our darkness. We've got the moon card here. So we've got to look at what's in our depths that is lingering, that is based in fear and lack and doubt, right? What are the toxic secrets and things that we are sitting on, and the pent-up frustrations that we're keeping buried in the subconscious that are causing all the shame and the undeservingness and the creative blocks? And are blocking off from our receiving, from abundance. It's interesting about this like orange candle burning, which is associated with the sacral chakra, which is associated with the moon chakra. This moon card is illuminating so much that we hadn't seen. It's like, okay, if you've had any breakthroughs recently, didn't it feel like the universe was like, okay, you've made it far enough through the gauntlet and you've proven yourself in this challenge as a hero. And so you've done well enough. And so we're giving you a little bit of help. We're like giving you some clues. We're coming in and like, okay, you've passed. And now we're kind of letting you see, okay, this was what was behind the lesson. So it's like you're getting it, but like from a behind the scenes, you're just like, wow, now I see how it's all connected. So that's very healing. That's very liberating. But just liberating from our fears, setting ourselves free. You know, I always like this card because it shows these characters out with these dog masks on, howling at the moon. And it's like there's this untamed, uncultivated part of ourself that's that wild spirit, that pure, natural, higher self within that hasn't been cultivated by conditioning, that we need to let out. And it's ready to run wild through the night, howling into the freaking eclipse. We're about to do it. Okay, let's pull a Moonology card to get a moon message for the next 2 weeks through this waning cycle, and we're releasing and we're walking through this eclipse portal. What do we need to know? It's going to help us. It's going to behoove us. All right, meditate and contemplate, new moon in Pisces. So yeah, it's like this Hermit card here with the moon card energy. Meditate and contemplate on literally the simplicity of what are you leaving behind and what are you moving toward. And stay focused on the transition of the portal. Just be in the portal, knowing that you're in the portal, right? Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Don't get like too caught up in the past. Be with this moment. Don't resist it. Just be with it. Watch the things that are trying to tear themselves away and let them go. Be, on the awareness and look out for the things that are signaling that they're coming in. Make the space for them to come in. But don't feel like you have to have all the exact answers or all the exact strategy right now. Just know that it's all coming together. Just meditate, contemplate, and prepare yourself in the meantime. It's like we're so over this Pisces like mood, you know, but it's like, I guess it's gonna do its thing until it's all done. And then our Angel Wisdom Tarot is Ace of Wands, an amazing opportunity. Be bold, courageous, and optimistic. Now is the time to take action. Do what you're passionate about. So again, this orange color, it's like, don't do anything yet until that moment presents where it is like undeniable. Like this feels right. This is the answer. This is my sign. This way next kind of thing. Go, don't hesitate. Don't do the Libra thing where you're like, I don't know what if it's not the right thing? It's just like, just do it. Just do it. Just take a chance. If you find out that you're making a mistake, then readjust, right? But don't hold yourself back in indecision, not one moment longer. Okay, let us check in with our manifestation. So what do we need to know for our manifestations for the next couple of weeks? How do we need to approach? What kind of energy do we need to be embodying? Time to move on. It's time to let go of the old and worn out so that the new can come in, literally. So in a literal sense, you could clean and declutter and do this physically and literally, but also as a symbolic gesture of also the things that you're letting go of. And moving things in your space moves energy, and it actually taps into the subconscious, and the subconscious presents as well. So deep cleaning and decluttering is a great exercise to stimulate the subconscious, especially if you plant those seeds of what you're thinking about while you're doing it. Like, don't think about it too hard, but like things will present while you're cleaning. You'll be like, oh, I haven't thought about that forever. You know, you'll find something, it'll make you think of something, and then you'll go down kind of like a rabbit hole and just like kind of let it do its thing. Process, emote, reflect, and then let go. All right, what else? Stop clinging to the past. Like, it's time to move on. It's like whatever situation you're in right now that's just not fulfilling or it's not cutting it. It's like, okay, just know you don't have to like burn the bridge today, but be aware that this is not sustainable and that now is the time to begin the exit strategy. Okay, what is my next move? It's time to build that bridge. Alchemy. You have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So don't hear this and dissipate your energy on every project. Don't follow shiny objects, but what it's saying is that don't worry, Libra. What you decide to do right now, you're not going to make a mistake. It's not like, well, what if I should have done this instead of that? The thing that presents to you that you feel is a good opportunity, but you're just second guessing yourself, there's alchemy here. Whatever it is that you're about to touch, you can turn it to gold. It's going to take your determination. It's going to take your persistence, but you can do it. Make a decision. Oh my gosh. It's so funny when the cards just say what I just said. I'm like, get your own ideas. So I'm coming here to you for you to tell me. And you're like, no, you're telling me. Okay, so make a decision. Feeling stuck or indecisive, listen to your intuition and make a decision. So yeah, follow that gut feeling, that feeling that feels right. Don't second guess it. Don't be afraid of that voice this time, right? We've done a lot of healing and we've done a lot to see around the booby traps of the Satan, of the opponent, and we know the difference well enough now to recognize an opportunity. We're just scared that it's gonna blow up in our face like the other times. You're being helped. Heaven is working behind the scenes to help you even if you don't see results yet. So if something feels like heaven is sending you help or opportunities, don't second guess them. Just be ready to jump on what feels right. And you're gonna feel the timing, and it's right. If you get presented with a good opportunity right now during the eclipse season, then if it feels right, then this is a great time to use this energy to propel. And if you can't literally start it during eclipse season, then like do the reflecting and the planning and all the things that plant those seeds in the realm of manifestation. And take those little actions that you can do in your own space, right? Okay, so what do we need to know about our love lives for this eclipse? How is Libra eclipse helping us in our relationships and in our love lives? And what can we do to help ourselves during this this eclipse energy? Heart-to-heart conversations. So if you have a chance to communicate with someone important about something important, don't play it cool. Don't be aloof. Don't be distant. Be honest. Present truthfully. I've had multiple situations like this come up recently where it was tempting to do the thing where you shut down and you're too cool for school, or you don't show your real self or how you really feel or speak up, or, oh, you know what, this is going to be uncomfortable. This is causing conflict. It's easier to just change the subject. You stuck with it, right? Stick with it, because on the other side of every time that came up recently, and I softened my heart to truly want change and healing through the other side of that conversation, that's what I've gotten on the other side of that conversation. So it can look different in different ways. So just try not to have any expectations. But if you are presented with an opportunity to show who you really are and say who you really are, then be authentic. Speak from the heart. Honestly discuss your feelings. Okay, what else? This may not be just limited to the romantic people, but having these conversations with people who don't have romantic ties and interests to you, but that can be like any other kind of relationship, that's gonna affect that as well. Calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. So again, like this work that we're doing to bare our hearts, to cleanse ourselves of past conditioning and to forgive, all of it is helping propel us forward. And the focus that we need for our love life right now is call in your soulmate, right? It's like being in the portal. That is like putting in the coordinates, right? Being in the portal is like we're in the launch, right? And so we have to focus on what's going on in the cockpit until we get into the outer space where we can just orbit, right? So right now it's like we're focusing on, okay, what can we do to control and man this instrument, this ship, until it gets into a stable, place. Love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. So right now, yeah, focus on loving yourself. Be ready to have the heart-to-heart conversations when they come up. Be ready to present who you really are and what you really want, and don't be afraid to show your feelings. In the meantime, pray all the time. Call in your soulmate. Prepare yourself for that soulmate. Be that person that you want to call in. And do your best to let go of anger, because the anger can be a thing that repels the energy of your soulmate. Okay, and then one last card for our romantic life, for our love life, I should say. One more love card. One more. Chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. So I think that this is like the law of attraction has been activated wherever that was that we had earlier. I would say that, and that is true for the alchemy card as well, that all of these things that you're doing, your willingness to be honest in your communication and authentic, the work that you're doing, calling in your soulmate, the work that you're doing, loving yourself first, all of this is building chemistry and attraction within yourself, and it's activating the law of attraction to make yourself more desirable for when your soulmate person or when people who are potential suitors show up in your energy field, right? So keep doing the good work. You might literally be meeting someone that you have a lot of chemistry with, or the work that you're doing might be stirring chemistry as a result with someone. So just, I guess, be advised. Contents may contain explosive substances. Okay. And then let's get some advice from Mother Mary. One card from Mother Mary. Literally advice from Jesus' mom. Ooh, sobriety. Clear mind is easy. Okay, my clear mind is easily able to focus and concentrate. So maybe give yourself a detox over the next couple of weeks. Be sober, it doesn't mean you can't socialize at all, but just stay on track, right? What's more important, an opportunity of a lifetime or random nights where you get invited to go out and get drunk and then you get a hangover and it throws you off your game, right? It's not forever. It's not the new lifestyle. Just take a minute. The next couple of weeks, this is a very powerful, extreme time of year. Just go through it more soberly and get serious detox, buckle down. Keep your mind clear and your energy tight and your environment prepared so that you're available to show up for opportunity. You don't have to get ready, you are ready. All right, and last but not least, let's get some final words from Jesus. Loving words from Jesus. What advice do you have for us, Jesus, for the next couple of weeks? With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. That is the certainty we're talking about. That is, the Hebrew word for that is emunah. It's faith beyond reason, beyond certainty, beyond doubt. It's knowing. It's not believing. It's not hoping. It is knowing. It's knowing with certainty because you understand the spiritual laws. And God is not a liar. That doesn't mean that God's a person up there telling us the truth. It just means that the universal laws are laid out so that we have a structure to hold on to, right? To create from and to build upon. So with God, all things are possible. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Happy full moon, lunar eclipse in Libra, y'all. I am headed off to work. Let's see what the night holds. Ciao.